This morning we touched on the idea of the messianic secret, that is, that Jesus would ask people not to tell about some of the things that he had done for them. And there's a lot of different reasons that have been given for that, and I just wanted to center on two. We mentioned one in the sermon this morning, and that is that the more they told, the more people were coming to Jesus for those things. Right? If you heal a leper, and the leper goes home and says, I was healed of my leprosy by Jesus, then all of the lepers say, well, I don't want to have leprosy anymore, and so they go to find Jesus as well. There was a sense in which Jesus was trying to do more preaching and less ministry and miracles from time to time. So we talked about that. One of the other reasons, though, is that the more notoriety that Jesus receives from doing miracles, the more attention he's receiving from the leadership. Now, Galilee is quite away from Jerusalem, but as his reputation was spreading, more and more people were finding out about Jesus, and that means that the leadership at Jerusalem is going to find out about Jesus. They don't take kindly to people preaching a message that they haven't put their rubber stamp on. And for somebody to be out in the Galilee doing miracles and preaching a message that they haven't approved was going to start causing problems. In the Gospel of John, Jesus is discussing with his brothers about going up to one of the feasts. And the brothers told him, if you want to be famous, you've got to go to the feast, because anybody who wants to be famous goes to Jerusalem. That's where all the people will be. And that's where you'll gain your notoriety. And Jesus tells his brothers, you can go to Jerusalem anytime you want to, but my time has not yet come. He went up later secretly, quietly, because he didn't want to get into the kinds of discussions, into the kinds of controversy that he knew were going to be there. So sometimes Jesus would have people be quiet simply because he didn't want the notoriety. And then I want to add one more that I think is probably true, at least in some cases. It wouldn't be so bad to have a guy who had been healed of leprosy to go out and give you a recommendation. But to have a demon-possessed guy, and particularly the demons that are possessing him, Jesus would not allow them to speak because they knew who he was. So Jesus keeps squelching the demons and telling them to be quiet because he didn't want a reference from the demons. And I thought this last week, I mentioned in the sermon this morning, we've been doing a lot of phone calling. The elders at the congregation where Mother and Daddy worship went as a group this last week to visit with them at the house. And then it made me really happy. I was thrilled that they had done that. And so as I was talking to one of them on the phone the other night, he was telling me some of the things that he had discovered, some of the things he was trying to encourage Daddy to do. And I told him, his name is Ron, by the way. Ron Birch is married to Suzanne Birch, who is Beth's middle namesake. She's Suzanne Birch. She is Elizabeth Suzanne, at least in part because of Suzanne Birch. Anyway, I was talking to Ron, and I was so overcome with emotion and with appreciation for those elders going and doing some of the things they've been doing to help Mother and Daddy lately, that I said, Ron, I want you to know that I'm really proud of you. And there was this kind of odd silence on the other end of the phone, and then he kind of giggled. And I said, Ron, is it okay if I am proud of you? And he said, I guess so. In all these years, it's been, whether Ron was proud of me or not. We've known each other for years. And some days he's been proud of me, and some days he hasn't been proud of me. But when I pronounced my pride in him, it kind of tickled him a little bit. So there are some places that you get accolades, some places where you get references, and you just assume they not be your reference. And that may be true for me and for Ron sometimes. But for Jesus, you don't want references from the demons. But the rest of the people don't know who you are. The demons need to just keep their mouths shut and not give away the secret that you are the Christ, you are the Messiah, you are the Holy One of God. And so Jesus squelches them to keep them quiet. So It's an oddity in the New Testament, an oddity mainly of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, that Jesus tells people, okay, now I've healed you, I've done what you needed me to do, please don't go tell anybody else. But you know the rest of the story, right? How many people, having been healed of leprosy, how many people, particularly there's one little girl that's raised from the dead, how many people, having received these kinds of gifts, are not going to immediately go out and tell everybody they know? So while Jesus was trying to keep his messianic secret, it was almost impossible to do so.